All right, I'm here with Massene Mboup, and he's running for city council, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what he's got to say. How you doing, Massene?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you very
Good,
much for coming on.
good, good.
Uh, Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Uh, yes, I am what is considered a first America. I am a an immigrant. I came here 22 years ago from Senegal, West Africa, as a teacher, and I've uh, finally become an American, naturalized American, and I work in education. I
Oh,
Yes, I have my doctoral degree at Portland State uh, in curriculum and instruction, and my field is more equity, inclusion, social justice, and things like that. I co-founded a school with my wife in a French immersion school in Lake Oswego, and it
ah,
goes from infant to sixth grade.
nice.
It's been 10 years now, so we are working. I'm the executive director. It's a non-profit independent school. We are
Okay. So it's
actually,
like a private charter or something like that.
no, it's a private independent, not charter.
Independent, not a
Yeah,
charter.
not
Ah, okay, cool. I get it because you're talking about the equal stuff. All right, so continue on. This is all fascinating.
yeah.
20 years ago, you come here. How long did it take you to become a citizen?
It took me. I became a citizen 5 years ago, not long. Yeah,
Sweet. It took a while.
I came in a J1 visa that Trump suspended right now, and
Oh,
in those visa, and I had an H1B visa, then a green card, then I've been all across. So, and I have the green card through my work, and then I became, a citizen. And when I became a citizen, I always tell people the difference is when I became a citizen, the promise of America to myself was I had the same right as any citizen, no matter what. And that's why I don't take certain things. And that's also why the immigration officer who swore me in told me that in our country, we want people to be active in the civic right and participate in politics and everything. And yeah, then I say, okay, it's a promise I did, so I jump into this race,
nice.
to
You
serve
come
my
here and you build schools. A lot
yeah,
of people could learn from you. We need more people like that in the world, all the ground. We should be going out there building schools.
yeah,
People should be coming here building schools because
yeah.
that is another thing. I talk a lot about us going places and building
Mm,
schools, but I like this because it's
yeah.
bringing other culture and ideas, other ways of teaching. No, you're not following the standard, I imagine. I'm very interested to learn more about your
Yeah.
school. I
Yes.
am. But let's talk a little bit about your campaign.
Yes. Yeah, the campaign, it's in a very complicated time. Who could think that you do a campaign where you cannot knock on doors? And I am a person's person. I mean, I love to interact with people, talk to them. And, Lake Oswego is a very nice community when people, they listen to you. It's my second time running. The first time around, I lost for like 37 votes, I think, and with an incumbent who's doing a wonderful job, who also was established here and was a very good counselor. So, and that's when I realized, yeah, this is a beautiful community. They listen to me. I had almost 8,000 votes. Among
Nice.
8 candidates, I was the fourth candidate. It was 3 seats, unfortunately. So the
Oh,
campaign is changing now because I have to use more digital work. So I'm using Facebook a lot.
right.
Yeah, to
Right.
ask, like,
Look,
Yeah, I
That's
have.
what we're here for. Like 4 years
Yep,
ago, Trump
yep,
and all this stuff happened. And I
yep,
was like, independent media is a major necessity
yep,
moving forward in this bottom up revolution with people that
yep,
don't have access to mainstream media. And
yep,
then even now we're dealing with the social media companies cracking down on us, but we just have to
yep,
keep pushing and keep
yep.
getting the word out there. We might even have an advantage because some of the younger kids know this tech savvy stuff and that thing that happened over there on TikTok, you know,
Yeah.
you know.
And they cannot stop it. It's like trying to stop the sea with your arms. You can't. It's just, and we are more intelligent. We are very resilient people. They can do whatever they want upstream there. But us, as the grassroots, we are intelligent, we are resilient, we have our way of going around things.
Right.
So they can't stop this. And
Right.
like, what I'm saying, my campaign, like, all night I'm receiving people through Facebook. I want a loan sign, so I'm giving out loan sign myself.
Okay.
I'm not letting the campaign do it, because since I cannot meet with the people, I go,
Okay.
deliver the sign. If I find them, we can chat in a
Right.
distance.
Right.
If
As you get
not, I
the
just,
distance, and then you
yeah,
start doing bigger Zoom meetings, or
yeah,
the
yeah,
technology's catching
yes,
up.
yes. And we are doing like the forums. We finished the Chamber
Nice.
of Commerce forum. We are having the response to racism forum. Yeah,
Nice.
it's an organization in Lake Oswego called Response to Racism.
Response to racism. All right. I'm
Yeah,
going to throw a link down there after this is over so people can go check that out.
yeah, yeah. Respond to
Sweet.
racism.org. It's a great organization. And
Great. If you're
yeah,
just tuning in, we're talking
yeah.
here with Massene. I forgot your last name, sir.
Mboup, Massene
Moop.
Mboup.
There we go. And he's running for city council in Oswego, Lake Oswego, Oregon. So let's get the vote out. Let's get the word out. Tell us, what will you do to make a huge difference if you get in there?
Yeah, it's an election. The context is a very important context in our history. The civil rights movement is continuing, and now in a form that have never been seen before, because it's not only the black people and the BIPOC rising up, but it's all the allies. And you go to any protest, you find more white people than the BIPOC who are fighting. So it's a new thing, and I would be part of this fight, like John, Lewis would say, the late John Lewis, the good travel. That's why I want to bring the good travel at City Hall. The good travel is to build the beloved community, because what I realize is we cannot, get out of all these problems: coronavirus, fire, climate change, all these protests of oppressed folks going outside. We cannot solve those problems if we don't have in mind the building of the beloved community, which is a community of unconditional love to your neighbors, to your friends, to the people, because your neighbors, in the Christian thing, love thy neighbor. Neighbor is not the guy next door to me. It's the guy I meet. It's you. It's the people I meet on the campaign trail. It's the people I share a bus with. It's the people I come across on my way. And that's, I believe, at the point of my life, I'm fighting for that, to have the community built. And because we have no other choice. There is no, because the other choice is chaos. And I prefer that we come together. There's a lot we can accomplish. If I am elected, I would be the first black person elected in Lake Oswego in the city council. And I think it's a very important step, for our people, for Lake Oswego, because Lake Oswego is not, doesn't have good marketing. People see Lake Oswego as a very restrictive, and that's not true. That's not true. Lake Oswego has more to share
Yeah.
to the world. So I just And I'm running for that. I'm running also because I think education is very important, and it's not really represented. People just they talk about education, but we don't have educational scholars who go there and show people things to do, like in terms of research, in terms of accommodation, because all the parks, all the things we are building, they are learning places. But you cannot just build learning places because an architect give you a plan and say this is how. So they, I just want to be there to be also as a consultant, as someone who say no, in education this is what we want. I'm a member of the DEI, the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Task Force. The city of Lake Oswego created a task force. I want, as if I am elected, I would like to have that being a permanent, not a task force of 6 months, but it should be a permanent, right? Because
Right.
inclusion, access, and diversity, it's always something we need
Right.
to have happening. So we can't just, we will give them what we think, but I think it would be best if we had an office of DEI in the city government, or a committee or a commission composed of the people in Lake Oswego that oversee that. And
Right.
like as you see also, I see people talking blue lives matter. It's all these are divisive. What is constant is we see black people and people of color killed or brutalized by police. And by saying that, we are not saying police is bad. Societies need police. So all societies. No one says there is no police. But all the people who try to say all lives matter, blue lives matter, they're trying, to move the narrative where the narrative is clear. It's a myself, I have been victim of police brutality, police humiliation. I've been victim. It's my life that I know. I can
Right.
tell those stories.
I bet.
So
I imagine.
yeah, so I've been pulled out from a restaurant where I was with my friend Sean, who's also from Vietnam, pulled by two cops with guns, saying that m- I matched the description of a dangerous criminal. You
Oh,
know, in front of hundreds of people in a restaurant, they pulled me like I was nothing. And
yeah.
guy they were comparing me were maybe 2 feet shorter than myself. I mean, and and more I can say. But so if I am elected, wherever I am, the police that is under our jurisdiction would be accountable. We cannot continue to do that. We are not like black people were 3/5 of a person. That's over. We are citizens. We are
No,
citizens. We are
it's
like
true.
and we are not, and we are saying it. I respect the police. When I have a problem, I call the police. No one is saying we want a peace police. The police officers are peace officers.
Right.
They should be people that we put highly, that we look highly of,
Right.
they are very important people in our community. They cannot be people who use biases. They
Right. They
should
should
be
be paid
trained.
more. What do you think about
Yeah.
the new ideas where they're trying to do like where they're sending some of these cities, they're sending instead of cops being first responders, try like social workers as a first responder or other people to be first responders in situations where maybe it's not a gunfight or something like that.
I
Maybe it's domestic dispute or something, and not send cops to somebody's house to break up a domestic dispute, but instead send somebody more professionally trained in that situation, someone that can de-escalate it.
yeah, and the problem we have here is it's also not fair the way police officers are treated and seen by society, because
Right,
we
that's
give,
true.
yeah, no, we have also to be fair. It's not just that, because the police officer, they come from our homes. They are our brothers, they are our sisters, they are our uncles, our
Right.
husbands, our wives. So we also have to be fair. They're not different from the society they come from. That's like very clear. The society you have, the police you have reflect and mirror the society you have. And that's, we can't just like criticize them and bail out, like saying, oh, we are the, no, 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 it's all. Like you say, if you send a cop in a middle of a mental crisis, their response, they're not mental professionals, they're not like psychiatrists, they
No,
don't have psychiatrical knowledge to
no,
know what trigger a reaction and what response should be brought. So
right,
they are cops, they have weapons,
right,
and most of the time in a mental crisis can be very threatening to someone
right.
who is not in the field. So, and I agree that either you train psychiatrists in the police force,
Right.
or you hire, like you in the schools we have psychologists. Why
Sure.
don't we have that? Why the police cannot have mental health specialists within the police?
In the
And
police,
when
sure.
in the police, and when they are going to intervention, they can go with them.
Oh, that's
That's,
true. Hey,
those
yeah,
are,
that's
those are
right.
important, but we cannot also give the police everything. The
Right,
police respond sometimes to works that's not their work,
right.
and we want
That's right.
to. So it's this thing. It's we have to calm down, all of us, and see that it's not by finger pointing, by telling the police you are bad, you are the worst, that we're going to solve the problem. We want adults in the room that come down and say, hey, this is systemic problems. How are we
Right.
going to solve it? And like you say, those cities, they're doing something. We have to solve this. We have to say, okay, we need mental specialists in the police. We need some other specialists that are not only police force. When they go together,
Right.
and it can help. They can tell them, oh, this guy is delusional.
Right.
This is how we can approach them. It's like when we have hostage, like situation, we send
Yep.
people who negotiate. It's we
Right.
just go jump and say, we know it never worked when you take those people violently. It always ends tragically.
Yep.
Same thing. We should help the police, give them instead. And that's where the problem, when we say defund the police, yes, we should defund militarized weapon,
Right.
but we should give the police budget to allow that to happen, to be able to have psychiatry specialists,
Right.
psychologists, and any kind inside the police force, so they can.
Right. There is one minor thing that I would
Yeah.
wonder about on that is there's a lot of like hatred in the police forces. There is a lot of white supremacy in the police forces across the entire nation. So I think it would be kind of safer to say, okay, defund the police and then have these separate sections that aren't completely connected to the police force, with mental evaluation and other people that are trained in that to help out. And so we're just reallocating funds.
No, yeah, and that's it. The problem we have is the vocabulary people use.
True.
When we talk, like you talk about white supremacists, you talk about right wing folks, like you talk about people who want like America again, like meaning a
Oh,
place
yeah.
where I cannot be able to live where I am right now, a place where I return to the plantation. That's not something that's going to happen. But we also have to, when you say defund the police in some places, they don't even have funds. They cannot respond to certain. So we have to, what we mean, we have to be intentional when we are saying things.
Okay.
We want to reallocate funds
Okay.
instead of buying military style weapon to the police. The police is not at war against other people.
Right.
The police is a peace force
Right.
that guarantee the freedom and the safety of the people within. When we are at war, police, they don't go to war. So it's a,
True.
what, yeah, what we want is a police that have resources, and it can be monetary resources, it can be training resources in order to respond to their work. It's very important that people, and the white supremacists in the police, you find them in the schools.
True.
I contend, I am writing an article, the campaign is here, that show that police, that schools are not better than police. And we know people can say what I have evidence that schools, because those police officers, they're trained in our school. Our
Right.
schools, in our schools, we witness curriculum violence. We witness the silencing of the narrative of BIPOC. Our schools are schools, contrary to what Donald Trump and his folks are saying, that uh, we are brainwashing kids in the school. That's not true. The schools, they exclude anyone that's not white. That's what we have right now in our schools in America. And those education, this is what that create these police officers. This is what create, yeah. So
True.
it's easy just like to look at the tree rather than looking at the forest, because the forest it's bigger than the police. The police is doing, when kids are over disciplined in school, it's not the police, it's another police. Kids of color are overrepresented in exclusion,
Right.
in referrals, in all around America.
Right.
And what happened to that? If they're excluded, they are right in the prison pipeline. And
Right.
that's where they meet with the police. That's where many problems happen.
Right.
So it's not, the problem is not the police.
Okay.
The problem is bigger. It's a systemic, and it's dangerous to focus. It's very dangerous to focus on the police, because the police is the end. It's the end game.
Okay.
But before the police, what do we have? We have a school that exclude any narrative that's not the narrative of certain people.
Right.
And because of that, we see when people say achievement gap, there is no achievement gap. There's a opportunity gap. There is an investment gap.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's pedagogical gap. So we have to be very careful. I stand with the people who are protesting police brutality. But the problem, if we stay and focus on police, we won't solve the problem. We are going to say, oh, we're going to extract white supremacy. What make a person a white supremacist? What does make a people? Because they're our brothers also and sisters.
True. Understood. Hate and fear.
Yeah.
And then they education.
They are Americans. We should love them no matter what. But what take them? What make them behave like that? What make them have that ideology of supremacy? It's a problem. It's a problem of education we have here. So
true, it is. Education is the number one weapon to solve that.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with you. We have to stop. I saw the police many times interacting with people. But we see the same thing in all professions. We see them in education. You talk, a kid talk, oh, you talk too loud because you are a black person. And in your culture, you talk too loud.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I'm talking to you, you're not looking at me in the eyes. No.
Oh, yeah.
Because in my culture, when I look at you, it seems that I'm not respecting you.
Oh, yeah, right.
So there are a lot of problems, and those kids are suspended. They are belittled in their classrooms. They end up in the prison pipeline. That's what we call the school to prison pipeline.
Right.
And, so we have to be very careful. The problem is not only the police, it's a systematically, all the institutions that we have to recheck, relook. We have to see what is happening. And that's the only way. The protest is wonderful because it's making loud, you know. We
Right.
are here, we
Right.
want to be, but at the end of the day, war end up always on a negotiation table. So we have to go there and say what is systematically happening in America, what's the cause, how can we solve the problems. And I really want to be part of the problem solver. Yeah, the problem solvers. That's
Right.
rather than putting gas like Donald Trump is doing, or all
Okay.
this.
Right.
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 I
This
mean,
is
yeah,
awesome. You're such an
yeah,
inspiration.
yeah.
Thank
So
you very much. To hear
yeah,
all this stuff, it's just like, yes, it is the system. The number one
it is.
enemy is the
Yeah.
system. No human being is an enemy. All
No,
people should be loved and treated equally.
yeah,
The system needs
that's it.
major changes. And one of the first steps to getting a major change in the system is getting you in there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and having you continuing this good trouble. That's
Keep
it.
trying to
We,
keep
we need,
good
yeah, we
trouble.
need
Oh, yes,
we need
sir.
to tell our people. It's information. You
Right.
know, it's like when you inform people, and even the word we don't think of that information is deformation. I am in a state, you give me an information, I
Oh,
change to another state. So
change.
that's yeah,
Right.
an change agent. We have to avoid, the misinformation, the alternative realities, like
Right.
the alternative facts. There's no such a thing as that.
Right. It's
Yeah,
so hard today,
yeah,
though.
yeah. So there we don't have. There's no one truth, but there are things we know that Antifa did not set the fire. We
Right.
know that Antifa, if they're real, it means anti-fascism. It means it's
Right.
good, because fascism is bad.
Right.
And we know that a state where we badmouth the news, we try to silence people, we are going directly to fascism. And
Right.
people who live fascism can tell you that there are signs that scared them. And America is a great country. It's our country, all of us. We all gonna, you see, I was telling a friend during the smoke, I told him, what did the white folks house, did they have smoke? And he said, what do you mean? I say, did black people have smoke in their house? He said, what are you talking about? I said, do the Republican have smoke in their house? So, and then he said, what do you mean? I said, if you are a Democrat, did you have smoke in your
Yeah.
houses?
I
This
get it.
is everywhere. I tell
Yeah.
him, this is why we should work together.
Right. I was hearing some amazing stories about Trump
Yeah.
supporters rescuing Democrat supporters, pets,
Yes.
people,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
politics was on the side when the houses were burning.
And that's those narrative that we should tell.
Yeah.
That's those narrative that we should have as the measure that as people, the politicians do not want people to unite.
Right.
They, instead of saying that Trump is the problem or Biden is the problem or someone, they want you to say Trump's supporters are the problem.
Right.
No, they're not. They're all victims. The problem we have a president who works for an oligarchy. We have a president who all his life, we know who he is. He's never done something good
No.
to the people. He's always, that's the truth. And I'm not saying it because I am in a party, or he's a guy we know of his rhetoric that's dangerous for our country.
Right.
And people should not listen to him.
Right.
Bush never talked like him. Mitt
Right.
Romney
I
does
know.
not
It's so
talk like
amazing because I was so scared of Bush.
Yeah.
And now I look.
Yeah, John McCain does not
I
talk
heard
like
Bush talking about immigrants.
Yeah.
Like I watched an old video and I was like, whoa, he sounds better than Biden.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and that's it. But what we should fight, it's not those. We should fight a system that exclude people, a system that pay people non-livable wage,
Right.
a system that refuse people to be in unions and fight for their rights. That's those systems. Whether they're democratic or Republican system, The problem is not that. The problem is how, as people, we can look at each other, we can look for each other, after each other, and how we can also look for each other. Where are my uh, folks? My folks are all these underprivileged people, all these disenfranchised people. Because look, we cannot, even in politics, you want to do politics, if you don't have money, you're not going anywhere. You have to pay for ads, and
Right.
they're selling us an illusion of a democratic society
Right.
where the majority are excluded. So we have to be very smart to see that we are all in this together.
Right.
There is no difference. The Trump supporter who's running around, ask them how are they doing insurance wise?
Right. I
How
do
are
all the
they
time on
doing?
the buses. I take the local
Yeah,
buses down. I'm in Medford. It's really
yeah,
red down here. And I have the
yeah,
conversations before when Bernie was running about Medicare for all.
yeah,
And when you
yeah,
break it down,
yeah.
most of the everyone I talk to is like, well, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, but what they told you, how are we gonna fund for it? I had the response. How did we fund for the $600 a week
Right.
for 6 months?
Yeah. We
How
printed the
did we
money.
fund? Yeah, like, and it was even worse because it was money that we were giving like this. But Bernie was not calling people or anybody, even Obama when he was running first. A single payer is not, we are giving money like that. We want our people to be healthy.
Yeah. Save money.
That's it.
Save
And
money.
it saves money
Right.
to our economy, and it makes us a better society.
Right.
That's simple. But
It
they
is.
don't want that. If you talk like that, they say you are a socialist, and they use words, or they are Marxist. And you ask them what is a Marxist, they won't tell you what is it. It is. So it's all, we have to come together. That's our only way out, is to come together, no matter how. I went in to Boise, and there was like a confrontation between Black Lives Matter and those folks with their gun. I've never seen many civilians with guns. Maybe
Oh,
in
yeah.
Somalia, in
Oh,
Liberia during the war,
wow.
but I've never seen that. Like
Wow.
like AR-15, AK-47.
Oh, that's right.
And my friend was saying, "No, don't go there. Don't." I said, "Yeah, I'm going there. These are my brothers too."
Right.
And I came, they broke rank, two of them with their guns coming directly to me. They come, I say, "What's up, brothers?" They were kind of hesitant, and they say, and I move on to the crowd. I found a guy who came and gave me fist bump with his AR-15, wanted to hug me. We kind of hug, you know.
Oh, right.
And then, when we love my friend, you crazy. You are, I tell him, why am I crazy? These are
That's awesome. We
they're
need
my
that. That's
brothers.
courage.
Yeah.
Courage is essential right now. We
Yeah.
need people
And
to
they're
not
our
be
brothers.
scared.
Yeah, they are
Right.
our brothers. What right do we have to tell them they don't have the right to have guns? Because
Wow.
what's
That's
the
just, yeah.
problem?
I mean, I hear you. That's going to cause a problem. So I hear
Yeah,
what you're saying here.
yeah, but what's the right? Like, we have, in our constitution, the Second Amendment said the right to bear arms. We can
Yep.
do what, but also I told the brother, why do you like your guns and you don't like their First Amendment right to go out there and protest? So it's a contradiction. You love your second, they love their first.
Right.
Now let's talk. With first and second, we sit and talk. How
Right.
far our First Amendment can go, how far our Second Amendment can go. Can we protest, burn buildings, destroy private properties, or can we have guns, use them in protest and kill people like in Kenosha? So
Oh,
it's just like all of us. Both parties have to come down and just say, this is our country.
yeah.
When it goes away, we are all going to lose. And you will only know it when it's no longer here. You go ask, because people have to realize that this is not eternal. America is like
Yeah, right. People don't get that.
yeah, it's like any other society. It's fragile. We
Right.
had the Roman Empire, we have
Yeah.
Egypt, we had the Greek Empire, we have the Ottoman, who occupied Europe 400 years. We are only 250 years.
Right.
So we are not immortal. We are mortal as a civilization, and people have to sit and sink in and say, hey, instead of fighting each other, there are people who don't like us around the world. We are giving them ammunition when we are fighting and doing certain things. We have to come as a people, one nation, and go. We can go to the mountain from different directions, but we should have the mountain as our focus.
Yeah.
America is our mountain. We have to think of that. That's what I tell Lake Oswego. Lake Oswego is our mountain. We should never forget that we have to disagree. It's normal. That's life. If we were all believing the same thing, it's bad. We have to say, hey man, you know what you believe, I don't be I believe in single payer, you don't. And we talk,
Right.
but we should stop tearing each other down.
Right.
That's the problem. No one is listening.
Right.
Like
We don't, America doesn't have a very good
yeah,
training in civil discourse. People don't
yeah.
want to discuss or debate, or it's either you're on my side and they don't want to talk about the big subjects,
Thank
especially.
you. It's like the R word, racism. You say racism,
Oh,
everybody.
right.
No, it's a fact.
Right.
There
Oh, yeah.
is racism is endemic. It is true,
Right.
but you did not create it. I
Right.
did not.
Right.
People who thought that I was 3/5 of the person, it's hundreds of years ago.
Right.
It wasn't you or me or one. But what can we do now? It's like the disease we found when we came to Earth. We found some diseases, we found some bacteria. We didn't say, oh, we're not going to talk about it. No, we fought in laboratories. Scientists work hard to eradicate. There are some diseases that don't exist anymore.
Right.
And it's the same thing with
Right.
every problem we have. It's just we need to go to our laboratory. Like it means silence. Sometimes we need silence. No one talk. We just sink in. I participate in Lake Oswego a month ago to a protest, a silent protest.
Okay.
Someone had a gong that say at
Oh,
some
yeah.
point to refocus. People were going around a place. It was the most amazing thing I have done these last years. I'm saying if we could invite America to those silent marches, no, this nothing. We just go, we walk, no one talk. We
Wow.
just sink in, like we just think, and you just position yourself. Why am I here?
Right.
What is the problem? What are solutions that are reasonable for all? And you just focus, you just walk, we will find something rather than, because everything in distraction, everything we destroy is our thing. If you destroy the court, it's our property. It's the taxes we will
Right.
pay. It's not Trump who's gonna pay for that. He
Right.
doesn't even pay taxes. I mean, so we cannot count on him. So it's just like we have to come together, refuse any leader that's a divisive. We have to refuse them. And so the Republican, that's what they should do. Trump should not be elected or re-elected. And
Right.
it's not to, you are voting for the Democrat, you are voting for America. You want the country to come back to a civil discourse where, many schools contend, where many flowers blossom, because that's how it is. That's the Chinese proverb that say, let 100 school contend, 100 flower blossoms. And that's it. We can't continue to just, I mean, you are doing a wonderful work. I'm very happy to be here and share. I just, sometimes, I'm people would say, because I'm a philosopher too, I quote philosophers. Gramsci was a philosopher, but a revolutionary in Italy,
Okay.
and who fought fascism and everything.
Okay.
He talked about, he's the one who's the main guy who talk about hegemony, but
Okay.
he talk about optimism of will, but pessimism of reason. And yeah,
Yeah.
but because the
I
world,
get
yeah,
that.
yeah, the world we are now, reasonably you are pessimistic when you look at things reasonably. When you go to bed and see global warming and people who deny it, when you see the racism, people who deny it, when you see poverty of underprivileged folks, white folks, BIPOC, poor, really poor. When you know that in our school, 50% of our students across America are in reduced or free lunch.
Yeah.
In the richest, the
Right.
most affluent country on earth,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you just say, what are we? Like, are we Christians? Are we Muslims? Are we Jews? Are we people
No.
of faith? Why are we looking that? And why are we supporting the folks who are creating this division?
Right.
And that's when you just say, I mean, you have to be, but you say, but I'm not gonna let down. I'm gonna be willingly optimist. I'm using my power, my will, everything to reverse this situation. And that's where I am. I think, we can get out of this thing. We can change this. We're gonna be better. America is gonna win. We can't, the dark forces are gonna go inside the darkness again, because we
Right.
need light, and
Right.
light is gonna come. Yeah. So yeah.
Sweet. Sweet. Yeah, like I said, you're an inspiration. I am watching you. I would love to have you on again. I'd love to talk more about philosophy. I'd like to hear more about your school. You're doing
Yeah.
wonderful things out there. Please, everybody out there, let's get him a seat. We need him speaking for us. Jump
Thank
over to his website. Go check him out on Facebook. I'll have all the links below. Thank you,
Thank
Sam, for coming on.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you
All
very.
right, bottom up. Peace, everybody. Have a great week and a great day.
Thank you, sir.